Michael Malone, established in an outstanding businessman and a passionate humanitarian. He is self-made and has risen from the humble beginnings of some Tata background. As the first black billion-rand property company, he is at the apex of the highly competitive business and commercial world enterprises. Mr. Kamalane holds the following qualifications: a bachelor's degree in law from Fort Hare, an LLB postgraduate degree from Patel University, and an LLM master's degree from Brown. He is an admitted attorney of the High Court of Africa. He is also a qualified estate agent and has been in the property market since 1991. He began his property career as an estate agent in Natal some 20 years ago, selling middle-income homes. He then moved to Cape Town, where he set up a commercial and industrial property agency called Swell, where for 7 years, he was admitted as an attorney of the High Court. He then moved to Johannesburg, where for 7 years he worked for Eskom as senior, then chief legal advisor, and was later promoted to the position of corporate consultant. During this time, he specialized in property, financial, and engineering legal systems. He was also able to refine his financial skills as a trader in money markets, foreign exchange, and mostly capital market risk. Some 13 years ago, he formed and set up a construction company, F-Corp, specialized in development of upmarket homes. This was a switch from pure construction development, a sector that was due to the high interest rate in 1998. This business has been consolidated into the Billion Group. In the late 90s and early 2000s, the group, through his guidance and leadership, ventured to set up coal mining, plastic concrete products, gold mine downstream Black computer
by
room,
virtue of the powers vested in
a
me
church,
as Chancellor
a community
of
hall,
WSU University,
tarring of roads
I
in
declare
rural
this
areas,
foundation
blanket
open for the
distributions to
conferring
poor
of
communities
degrees and
every
awarding of
winter
diplomas and
countrywide.
certificates.
Donation of school shoes to children from poor communities, food distribution in townships to orphanage homes, old age homes, bursaries for students, amongst many others. He has received various awards, namely Entrepreneur of the Year 2006, South Africa, Property Developer of the Year Award 2009, South African, Pioneer Award 2014, South African, African Business Excellence Award 2014, United Kingdom House of Lords, Global Leadership Excellence Award 2016 from the Global Leadership Congress, and recently the Manager of the Year as CEO of Rebosis, Socrates Committee, Oxford, United Kingdom.
You are the salt of the earth.
Amongst
But
many
if the
others.
salt loses its saltiness,
He is passionate,
how
driven,
can it be made
highly
salty
successful,
again?
yet humble.
It is no
and
longer
very
good
fond
for
of his
anything
grandfather, who
except
raised
to
him,
be thrown
taught
out
him life,
and
manners,
humbled by men.
value of respect,
You are the
giving
light of the world.
and resonance with
A
God.
city on a hill cannot be hidden.
His grandfather remains his
Neither do
greatest
people
inspiration
light a lamp
and idol for
and put
all
it
the
under the
virtues
bar.
he continues to
Instead,
embrace
they put it
in
on
his
its
daily
stand,
life. He
and
has a
it gives
strong
light
conviction of support
to everyone
for
in the
entrepreneurs who create jobs
in the same way,
and good tax
let
bases
your light
to
shine
enable growth
before
and
men,
improvement
that they
of
may see your
livelihood of
good
poor
deeds
communities.
and praise your Father.
Walter Sisulu University is
Heaven.
proud to confer the Doctor of
Let us
Commerce
pray.
degrees honoris causa on Mr. Caesar Michael Gubalane for the
Eternal
immeasurable
God,
contribution he has made.
Creator of
He has
heaven
rendered
and earth.
distinguished service in the
You are the
advancement of
Alpha
commerce
and the Omega,
and economic improvement of the country,
the
with
beginning
a focus
and
on the
end.
poor and the rural context.
You are the Creator.
These initiatives have
You are
contributed
an omnipotent
immensely
God.
to the advancement
You
of
are
our
indeed
country's
an
foundational
omnipresent God.
values of enhancing
omniscient
human
God.
dignity, equality,
You are a
and
loving God.
transformation of
We
society
give thanks for this
that are
day
compatible
and
with
for this
Walter
moment.
Sisulu University's
We
vision
give thanks for
and
this
mission.
opportunity to come and celebrate. your
Madam
mighty
Chancellor, it gives me
We
great
praise you,
pleasure
Lord God,
to request that you
and we
confer
invite
upon
your
Mr.
presence.
Caesar Michael Gubalane
That your
the
Holy
degree
Spirit
of Doctor of Commerce,
be among us.
honoris causa.
Lord God, you are holy, and we are sinners. We are not
The
worthy
degree
to
of
stand
Doctor
before
of
you.
Commerce honoris causa
Forgive us
may be conferred
from
upon
our
Mr. Caesar Michael Ngebulane.
and save us from our past. Reconcile us with your own creation. We invite you, Lord God, to be present in this occasion. Guide us, direct our thoughts, be our source of inspiration, illuminate our hearts. Bless
Kwatini bakumisa bengakwazi bathi ngumfo waseTranskei ndithetha ngale nkunzi amalundalunda ndithole nkunzi emidwaidwa nenkunzi abanxebanxeba ngumakade bona inkunzi ebhonge emathathini kusala amatyholo inkunzi asalimilambo kusala amasibi inkunzi eqhube ezitabeni kusala amatafa lonke amadoda ngumaqunga angadidi kwezemfundo umfo waseTranskei inkunzi emnyama eqhuba kwezimhlophe ngabhonga Nyambe, kutugoduka, isisa kundela domadoda, isisa matini ayo, saketa isisa masati ngusisa, lata madoda. Saketa isisa masati ngusisa.
Madam Chancellor Ambassador Sisulu, the chairperson of the Council,
Chancellor of Walter Sisulu University,
the
President of Convocation,
and Research, Professor
any government dignitaries present,
Registrar,
any traditional and community leaders
Deans of
present,
all faculties,
invited guests,
President of the Convocation,
members of the
Tiya,
media, parents,
Bishop Nakai,
and families of our graduates,
Usu
members
SRC,
of staff,
parents,
ladies and gentlemen, but
Invited guests,
most importantly,
and whole
our
community
graduates.
at large.
It is my honor and pleasure to welcome you to this
It's good to be here
graduation
this morning.
ceremony. Before I commence with my speech, however,
Certainly a significant
I
day
would
in
like
our
us
lives.
to observe a moment of
graduates
silence
Sitting in this
to
room.
acknowledge and pay respect to
Firstly, I'm
staff and
grateful to
students who have
this
passed
great
away,
institution for its
and
decision to
also
confer
in
this honor.
special acknowledgement of Mama Winnie
I grew up with
Madikizela
my
Mandela,
grandparents in Nyamba
who was
village
due to receive an honorary
Tswana.
doctorate degree from us on the
in
10th
Mthatha and walked
of
the
May.
streets of this town as a child.
Some of these staff members would have been here with us,
My
but are
family
not.
lives here, my mother lives here.
Some students
Joined
should
us
have
this
been
morning at a
walking
tender age of
across
75.
the stage to receive their degrees and certificates.
All of which,
I would ask you just to remain seated and
all
just
of
to
which
bow your
makes
head,
this recognition
remembering
very special
those who could have been
and
here
meaningful to me.
today.
Growing up, I spent a lot of time in my dad's grandparents' business, the general dealer store, where I had a first taste of business. They also had a small brick field where I developed passion for real estate. They believed in proper education, and because they believed in me, I won a number of arguments during many conversations we had as a family, and through arguments made the choice to study law. Very complicated. I'm giving you this anecdote so you can understand why education, broader life, and future generations are important. Like Red Bull, it gives you wings to fly. Secondly, I would like to congratulate the
Thank you.
graduates.
Graduation ceremonies are a highlight on every university's calendar because it celebrates the accomplishments of those who have worked tirelessly to succeed in their academic endeavors. Many of the graduates here today have defied many odds that were stacked against them to achieve their academic qualifications.
Whatever you choose to do.
For them, especially,
When I was asked to give
graduation
a speech
is a
today,
triumph.
I was thrilled because it gives me a
WSU is
opportunity
predominantly
share one
a
of my
rural
life
university with campuses in East
Never
London,
stop there.
Butterworth, Mthatha, and
John
Queenstown.
Dewey.
We are
Education is
proud
not
to service
operating
this
life.
rural, poor, working-class market
It is life.
because we open doors of learning for thousands of
It's a
people
nice thing to
in our
graduate after years
communities.
of study.
Advocates
Some of you
Mbeka and
will be joining councils.
Kautobi provides a vivid example.
Others will continue.
He is
to
one of
study
the
for years.
sharpest young
That's
legal
one of the
minds
things.
in the country.
The good news is
Is
that
a prominent and influential alumnus
you
of
take
this
education
university.
with you wherever you go.
At his recent book
In
launch,
life,
hosted by our
in business,
Convocation Executive
One is
Committee,
constantly learning
he told us
and innovating to stay
that
relevant.
a touching story about how he got his first
Education is
qualification.
a powerful tool.
He was raised by his
Helps
mother,
you
who was a
unlock
domestic worker.
The power within you. to
He
change
excelled
the
at
world.
school and secured admission to university,
So hold tight
both
to the power.
at the University of Natal as well as
It
the
will
then
open doors
University of Transkei, which is now Walter
Doors you
Sisulu
never
University.
could exist.
Because of financial challenges, he could not
So in so many
register
ways,
at the
your
University of
graduation
Natal,
marks the beginning of
but
something new.
because of our low fees,
And just
we
as
provided
honorary
him the
doctorate
opportunity to get a
celebrates
university
my past contribution
qualification.
to business and humanity.
He succeeded and went
It
on
marks
to
an
other
important
universities, and he attained his
There will be
first two
breaking
law
ground on
qualifications
many
at Walter
frontiers.
Sisulu University, and then went and
Business is
did
complex.
2 master's degrees at
Presents
other
challenges that
institutions.
require innovative thinking.
This is what I
hard work.
mean when I say that WSU is a gateway institution that opens
it all
the doors
began
of learning to young
where you are
people
today.
who would otherwise not have had that
Having graduated
opportunity.
my first degree,
Many of you would
I
have read
became
in the
more
newspapers
determined
and
to
heard
go
on the
further.
radio about student
And having
protests
completed
stemming from poor living
my LLB
conditions
and master's
at Walter Sisulu University.
In addition to becoming
Indeed,
an attorney,
this is
as I
one
recall,
aspect that I am not proud of. Although this
practiced
does
in
not
my
apply
favorite
to all our student
partly at
residences,
the time,
we
paid
cannot
taxes
hide or ignore the fact that
But
many
to
of our
get to
students are housed in unacceptable accommodation.
I then moved to
We
Cape
should
Town
be doing
as
much
you heard.
better for our students, and we will.
and set up the first
The state that we are in at the
commercial,
moment reminds me of a
industrial
passage from a book
real
by
estate
Charles
agency,
Dickens, A Tale of
First
Two
Black
Cities.
at the time.
Dickens writes, "It was the best of
It had
times,
always
it was
been
the
in me
worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was
to
the age
venture
of
into
foolishness.
business. However, it was a
It was
process
the
that
epoch
gained
of
good
belief.
corporate
It was
exposure
the
and
epoch
experience.
of
And
incredulity.
hence, I honed my skills
It was
working as legal
the
counsel,
season of light, it was the
and
season
then
of
immersed
darkness.
myself
It was the spring of hope,
in numbers,
it was the winter of despair."
which I didn't study at university.
This book
because
has many
they
themes,
became quite important
but I want to pick up on only two.
in
The first
treasury and
is that
financial
there are
markets.
ever-present
And it was through
possibilities
this rigorous
of
process of
resurrection
learning
and
that
transformation.
enabled me.
This means that we can turn this university around if all
And it
the
wasn't
people
until
play
20 years
their
ago
part. The unpleasant
started
accommodation conditions
venturing on
were
my
not
own,
created overnight,
setting up my own company.
and there is also no quick fix solution.
And I'm proud
All
that
stakeholders
today
have
we've
to
been
pull
able to
together.
create as many
Having
as
said this,
2,000 jobs
I must acknowledge the ongoing
to carry
support
out my company.
of the Department of Higher Education and Training, which assists us greatly
In
with
2010,
infrastructure grants. This year, grants
In
from the
2010,
department will enable
we
us to
established
start
First Black
constructing two
Property
residences
Fund.
in Umtata
list on
as well
JSE.
as in Queenstown and or Butterworth.
It was
We
the
still have
largest
to
IPO
see where.
on the JSE.
And another grant will enable us to do major
All these
renovations
achievements were made
to
possible by the
residences in
many
Umtata.
lessons learned at
We
various
know that
stages
this
of
will
my
not
life
solve
career
all our accommodation problems,
and business.
but it is an important start.
It all began
Our
when I
biggest challenge
graduated.
is our infrastructure
in the late
maintenance backlog,
The value of
which
my
sits
hard
at
work
currently at
focus on
over
the
850 million.
to the outcome.
On the other hand, we also sit with
Haven't been
unpaid
easy.
fees of over
And
800
so many
million.
times I faced
There's
rejection,
a direct correlation between unpaid
faced
fees
jealousy.
and our ability to deliver satisfactory
Make
services
costly
across
mistakes.
the university. For
However,
the
these
sake of
values,
WSU's
these
future,
valuable
we
lessons,
need financial
encouraged me
stability, and we need
successful.
past and present students
didn't
to pay
change
their
me.
debts so that we
They
can
molded my
embark on
character.
further major
yes,
renovations on
we like
existing
you to fail
residences
first.
and lecture halls.
But in reality,
The
failure
second
is
theme
the best attempt
is
to
that
learn.
there is a tendency towards violence and
remember
oppression
that to be
in
met
revolutions.
with disapproval.
And this is clearly
You will be
seen
met
in the
with rejection.
unacceptably violent
Not
protests that
everybody will like
WSU has unfortunately
People let
become
you down.
famous for. Just this year, we
Never
saw
give up.
vehicles being torched,
Persevere.
offices being
And
vandalized,
instead use these
windows being
experiences
broken,
to build
residences
your own strength.
being damaged, and bookshops on campus being looted.
I've been
There
privileged
are
for the
better ways
achievements,
to
successes,
voice
opportunities to
dissatisfaction,
contribute meaningfully
ways
to
that
society
don't
as
move
a
us
result
back as
of
a
my
university and compel
Some
us to
lessons
use
I've
our
learned
very
and
limited
to learn
financial resources
include
over and
among
over
a long
again
list
to restore
taking
the damage that is caused.
well-calculated
Again,
risks.
our government must be commended for improving
Know what to get
access
yourself
to
into,
education through the
as this will
NSFAS
determine your
scheme.
failure or
As
success.
you are aware, former
what you
President
find.
Jacob Zuma announced free
Use the
education
challenges as
for poor
opportunities to
and
innovate,
working
create
class
solutions
people.
that didn't
This
exist.
allows access to higher education to more
Before
people,
being exposed
and
to
it
challenging
alleviates the financial
circumstances,
pressures on working
teaches
class
you a
families.
new skill.
However, the
the way,
popular saying
You will
is
find
that there's no such thing as a
people
free
and
lunch,
someone willing to
and it
mentor
is
you.
true. Government
the
has
chance
had to
to build
curtail expenditure in other areas, and as from the 1st of April, value-added
There will be
tax
times when you attempt
increased
doing
from
something
14%
new,
to 15%.
but you will
The
be met
real
with
impact of
negativity,
this increase is already
skepticism.
being felt by us, and
Never give in to
ironically has
Always listen to your inner
negatively
voice.
impacted
Harness the power
on the
within
poor and the
to stay
working
positive.
class.
with your eyes
Madam
firmly on the
Chancellor,
goal that you want to
I want to
achieve.
shift my attention
From
to our
time to
academic
time,
programs where there has been both good and bad
You
news
also
in the
need to
past year.
refine the vision on how
Let
you
me
intend
start
to
by
achieve
saying
your
that we take our
whatever it
academic
is.
enterprise seriously, and we aspire to
back,
provide
I spent
quality education for our students.
life in business.
We are not perfect, but where we are found wanting,
Early on,
we will fix
selling
and
homes
improve.
to generate income.
Many
to
will
pay
be
student
aware
loans,
that the Council of Higher Education
to corporate
assessed our
experience,
LLB program,
structuring finance
and in
transactions,
2017 resolved to withdraw
acquiring and
accreditation.
disposing various
This does not
businesses and
affect
assets,
current
developing shopping
students,
malls, listing
however,
and running
and I
listed
can
businesses,
assure you that the
interacting with
certificates that
investors,
our LLB graduates
analysts and
receive over the
markets,
next 6 years will
and
still
most
be valid,
importantly,
recognized, and accredited. At the
the
same time, our
responsibility of giving
academic
back
and
to
support
communities,
units have moved swiftly to develop a new LLB
some of
program,
which have
which will be
also become
submitted for
WSU.
accreditation during the course of this year. Our aim
So most
is to
importantly, I've
fix
been and
and
will continue
improve,
learning as long as I'm
and we have a program in place
It keeps me
that
young
will
and
meet
I love it.
those necessary standards.
Every day for me.
WSU has also advanced
So although
status
today
of
officially
getting
say
approval
goodbye to long
for
days and
the
lectures and nights
Bachelor of
of
Social Work program. We have already
Another
passed the
learning
first
aspect
hurdle of
begins.
getting approval
A new
from the
chapter in your
professional
lives
bodies. And again, I must
should
acknowledge the
open with
enormous
enthusiasm,
background work that our
not
academics have done in providing the necessary
regardless
training.
of whether big or small,
But there
whatever
are
your
also
role is going
programs
to be in
that
shaping
require no
future
fixing nor
your
any
contribution to
improvement.
society.
I'm proud to confirm
Do it
that
with
the
pride,
South African
humility.
Institute of Chartered
Never
Accountants
lose sight.
has accredited our accounting
Act
program.
with integrity,
Our Department
sustain
of
your dealings,
Accounting,
and most
strongly
importantly,
supported by the University
love
of
what you
Cape
do
Town, navigated
and do it
rigorous
excellently.
accreditation processes, and their efforts
as
paid
you
off
step
in
into the podium to
2017.
receive your degree, take a moment
This
to
team
appreciate
spent an enormous
Wait.
amount of time putting
Congratulate
together
yourself
processes, systems, and
on the
quality
day moment
assurance in
profound
place,
achievement
and it
and
all,
brace
has
yourself
all proved to be
for the
successful.
treasure hunt ahead.
We also want to acknowledge the role of the University of Fort Hare, which
I'd
was
like to-
which was
I'd
our
like you to remember
articulation
the following.
partner for
There's
undergraduates,
an unrivaled
as
excellence
well.
in education that your
and to
graduation
try and show that this
today
is not
is a
just
living
window
proof.
dressing. Our students who went
with
through the
consistent hard
program
work and discipline,
and who
every
wrote
dream is
CITE's
possible.
initial test of
So dream
competence,
big,
previously called the board
follow
exam,
through with hard work.
this year
and
achieved a
everything
92% pass rate.
I urge you to
This
practice
is truly
excellence whatever you do.
And I think that
No
those
matter how
students,
small,
as well as the
keep
staff,
learning,
need to be
Broaden your
applauded.
horizons and challenge your mind to doing new things and acquiring new skills. In closing,
During the May graduation
I'd like to
season,
leave you
the Chancellor
with
will
one of
award certificates
another
to
lynch.
almost 6,000
learning is
graduates
the only thing
across
the
our
mind
4
never
campuses.
lost.
We continue to see improved throughput rates,
It's the
and
only
this is a
thing it never
major
ceases.
achievement for us.
And the only thing
Today is about the cumulative
you.
sum of all our efforts. It is a triumph against the enormous challenges that our students have faced. It's not only your victory, however, graduates, it is also a victory for the sterling effort of your parents, the grandparents, family, friends, and even school teachers who supported you along your educational journey. Graduates, today you become an
Her
alumnus
Excellency,
alumna
Walter Sisulu
of,
University
as a member
Chancellor,
of the University
Dr. Sheila
Convocation.
Sisulu,
You can
my
now
lady,
refer to
Chairperson of Council,
WSU
Judge
as your
Dambuza in
alma mater.
absentia, and members of the
You are
Council,
now
the
WSU
Vice Chancellor and Principal,
ambassadors,
Prof. Rob
and the
Mitchley,
university
and the
needs
entire
you in
executive
many
management
respects.
for Walter Sisulu University,
Please remain connected
the Convocation
to
Alumni
WSU
Executive,
and participate
the Secretary
in
of
its
OR
programs
Tambo
and
Chapter,
help us
Mr.
build
Sosigela,
a better WSU. Thank
the
you to all
SRC
the
President,
friends of
academic
WSU
staff,
that continue to support this
Dr.
university.
Dilaray Mpatwa,
Support we receive
Mr.
from
Mapekula, the
communities,
former
local
executive
and
mayors
district
of Mthatha,
municipalities, provincial and national government, and the private
Mr.
sector is
Let me
highly
be the
valued.
first one,
I
Dr.
want
Sisa
especially to
Ngepulana,
acknowledge the
to
support
refer
from
to you as
interim
a
chiefs
doctor,
from the areas in which we are
distinguished
based
guests,
and
parents,
on those
fellow graduates.
on whose land our
We are
campus
gathering
is built.
today in this jamboree at
Last
a
year,
very
I
critical
visited
time
various kingdoms
of
to
African
build stronger
politics,
relationship with
after the
national
falling of
leaders.
one of the greatest leaders
I
in
hope that
Africa.
the fruits of
This
those
leader was characterized with courage, boldness, and
from all the
resilience.
staff
A leader who never
of the
feared the
Sisulu
enemy.
University,
A leader who never lost sight
on your
due to threats
graduation.
and torturing
we are proud
by
of
the
you,
unpopular apartheid
particularly
regime
your
that
lecturers
robbed
are-
us our land.
lecturers are.
Today we are here to celebrate you, fellow graduates.
Please do so
I
responsibly.
also want to warn you about the world.
Family, community,
This is
and
one of the
country
greatest
need
graduation ceremonies Walter Sisulu University has ever had.
and so
We are honoring a noble son of the soil,
well
Dr. Sisa
and
Ngepulana,
happy graduation.
and supposedly to honor posthumously one of the greatest leaders, Winnie Nomzamo Madikizela Mandela. Our outstanding contribution in fighting of human rights, equality, liberation, and unemployment, leaders who detested poverty and have made an extra effort to fight poverty and other opportunities we are having and enjoying today. Will you emulate the cause of the greatest leader, Winnie Madikizela Mandela? Will you plow back to our communities like the great son of the soil, Zincedile, is doing? During our stay in WSU University, it was not easy to all of us, from applications till the end. Through it all and in it all, we are still standing firm, thanking WSU University for making us. We never had an alternative because we come from poor and disadvantaged backgrounds like you. Are you willing and ready to defend our alma mater on media, press, or you will be the first who publicize bad stories about WSU University? Are you ready to tell the world good things that happen in our alma mater? Will you tell the world that two justices in the Constitutional Court, Justice Mandanga, Justice Chapter, were produced by WSU University? Will you tell the world that Justice Mandisa Maya in the Constitutional Court, who is the sitting judge president, was produced by WSU University? Will you tell the world that the current president, Judge President of Eastern Cape, Justice Selby Benenge, was produced by WSU University? Will you tell the world that the chairperson of SAICA, Professor Terence Nombembe, who is the former Auditor General, was produced by University? Will you tell the world that former Dr. Kuteni, Dr. Lwazi Mushaba were produced by WSU University? Will you go out to the world and tell the world that the popular and well-known advocate, Zaitodi, who is known as Baiwam Teto, was produced by this university? Will you tell the world that the first black chartered accountant, Ms. Nokzola Kobodo, was produced by this university? Will you tell the world that the youngest neurosurgeon in Africa, Dr. Mukisa Jilata, was produced by this university? Will you tell the world that Dr. WSU, who is the youngest female cardiologist, was produced by WSU University? Things are better to you. Access to higher education. Those of you who qualified diplomas and degrees to commence and business management, what will you do through innovation to make Patriotic Corporation in Port St. John, which is an employment hub, which is at the brink of falling? What will you do in Butterworth to resuscitate the shut down factories, including Olsen's Lager? When you go out there equipped as you are, will you make South Africa proud and WSU University proud? Are you going to make us sad? The education you have acquired, has it made you to have a self-belief that we can build a country that we will all be proud of? Today, has the education you have acquired instilled the principle of Ubuntu, epistemology of Africa in you? Today, are you willing to serve Africa with respect and diligence? Today, what will you do? What will you build when you go out to the world? Will you hate crime and corruption? Will you be enablers of crime or anti-corrupt crusades? Today, you will be celebrating along L2 and RT1 road, singing the confusing songs of jubilation. But next week, you will be alone, walking a lonely path, asking yourself, what will you do come Monday? You know that out there are difficulties, but those difficulties can be converted to great opportunities, depending on your attitude. Out there are difficulties, but those difficulties can be converted into fortunes and great opportunities. I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you are willing to take the risk. You will fail at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. If you don't fail, it means you are not even trying. Red Jackson struck out 2,600 times in his career, the most in the history of baseball. But you don't hear about the strikeout. People remember the home runs he made. Thomas Edison conducted 1,000 phase experiments. Did you know that? I didn't. Because the 1001 was the light bulb. Every phase experiment is one step closer to success. You've got to take risks. Sometimes it's the best way to figure out where you are going. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. Whenever you feel bad, just remember that Coca-Cola only sold 25 bottles on their first year. Never be discouraged. Never hold back. Give everything you have to give. Pray more. Pray again. God will answer you. The book of Proverbs carries some interesting content in it. It says, choose a good reputation over great riches. Being held in high esteem is better than silver or gold. I take it. These are the Proverbs of Solomon, the son of King David, of Israelites. In this book of accumulation of wisdom, from generation of God's insightful people, this book promotes the life of virtue and fear of God. It puts God first in everything you do. Advocate Dwight a few weeks ago talked to us about the indispensable being ethical, being responsible, relevant, reasonable. It's better to be a good recent graduate who contributes to the life of the community than to be a rich and talent graduate about your alma mater. We thank parents for bringing you to Walter University. We thank them for sending and following. Fellow graduates, go to the wells and shine. Never forget that your alma mater. This is what must guide you. Wisdom, integrity, and excellence. Your certificate has information in this field. Walter University, our stalwart, once said, the battle shall have been won if by the turn of the next century, poverty, squalor, degradation, and diseases shall remain but distant and fading memory. I close the quote. This information is engraved in your graduation hoods, those who graduated degrees. I am here to say congratulations to you all. Go to the world and shine bright like stars, and come and change our alma mater. Congratulations, Butsisa. Keep up the good work. Mama Wesizwe, congratulations posthumously. Mama, show us signal. Mama, show us the signal on how to transform this university and to make it a university of first choice. Allah, amaqobokozana ngalale endleleni yembelekile. Uthi inkunzi abayikhuza ukuhlaba ingekahlabi. Kazazi bathini namhla yagweba. Kuba iyozigwebe ngelomkhombe ndakukhangela. Congratulations, may your motorboat fly high. Congratulations. Walter University Chancellor, Dr. Sheila Sisulu, my lady, Judge Dambuza in absentia, and council members, the Vice Chancellor and Principal for Walter University and the entire executive management, Convocation Executive, SRC Presidents, the academic staff, distinguished guests, parents, fellow graduates. We are gathering today in this jamboree at a very critical time in African politics after the falling of one of the greatest leaders Africa has ever produced. This leader was characterized with courage, boldness, and resilience. A leader who never feared the enemy. A leader who never lost sight due to threats and torturing by the unpopular apartheid regime that robbed us our land. Today we are here to celebrate you, fellow graduates. I also want to warn you about the world. This is one of the greatest graduation ceremonies Walter University has ever had. We just earlier this morning honored a noble son of the soil, Sisange Bulana, with a Doctor of Commerce honorary degree. And we are still going to honor the late Winnie Madikizela Mandela as a doctor of social sciences for the contribution she made to this country. Fellow guardians, will you emulate the cause of the greatest leader, Winnie Madikizela Mandela? Will you plow back to your communities like the great Sister Ngebulana is doing? During our stay in Walter Sisulu University whilst we were students, things were not easy even to us. Through it all and in it all, we are still standing firm, thanking Walter Sisulu University for making us. We never had an alternative because we come from poor and disadvantaged backgrounds like you. Are you willing and ready to defend our alma mater on media and press, or you will be the first to publicize bad stories about Walter Sisulu University? Are you ready to tell the world good things that happen in our alma mater? Will you tell the world that two justices in the Constitutional Court, Justice Madlang and Justice Jata, were produced by this university? Will you tell the world that Justice Mandisa Maya, who is the president of the Supreme Court of Appeal in South Africa, was produced by Walter Sisulu University? Will you tell the world that the current sitting judge president of Eastern Cape, Justice Mbenenge, was produced by this university? Will you tell the world that the first black chartered accountant, Sis Nokzola Kobota, was produced by this university? Will you tell the world that Dr. Terence Nombembe, the current chairperson of SAICA and the then Auditor General of South Africa, was produced by this university? Will you tell the world that the Deputy Minister Ngosi Patekile Olomisa was produced by this university? Will you tell the world that Dr. Lwazi Lushaba, Dr. Somadoda Figeni, and the list is endless, were produced by this university? Will you tell the world that Dr. Ngumisa Jilata, who is the youngest neurosurgeon in Africa, was produced by this university? Will you tell the world that Dr. Viwe Ntwesi, the youngest female cardiologist, was produced by this university? Fellow graduates, things are better to you than they were to us. The access to higher education is wide open. Those who qualified on diplomas and degrees of business management, what will you do through the innovation to make Majority Corporation in Port St. John's, which is at the brink of falling, to rise? What will you do to resuscitate the factories, including Olsen's Lager in Butterworth? When you go out equipped as you are, will you make South Africa and Walter Sisulu University proud? Are you going to make us sad? The education you have acquired, had it made you to have self-belief that we can build a country that we will all be proud of? Today, has the education you acquired instilled the principle of Ubuntu and epistemology of Africa in you? Today, are you willing to serve South Africa with respect and diligence? What will you do to fight corruption and crime? Will you be enablers of corruption or anti-corrupt crusades? As you will be celebrating today along N2 and R61 roads, singing the circumcision songs of jubilation, next week you will be alone walking a lonely path, asking yourself, what will you do come Monday? You know that out there are difficulties, but those difficulties can be converted to great opportunities depending on your attitude. That out there are difficulties, but those difficulties can be converted into fortunes and opportunities. I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. You will fail at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. If you don't fail, it means you are not even trying. Reggie Jackson struck 2,600 times in his career, the most in the history of baseball. But you don't hear about the strikeout. People remember the home runs. Thomas Edison conducted 1,000 failed experiments. Did you know that? I didn't. Because the 1001 was a light bulb. Every failed experiment is one step closer to success. You've got to take risks. Sometimes It's the best way to figure out where you are going. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. Whenever you feel bad, just remember that Coca-Cola only sold 25 bottles the first year. Never be discouraged. Never hold back. Give everything you have to give. Pray more. Pray again. God will answer you. The book of Proverbs carries some interesting cantons in the Holy Bible. It says, I quote, "Choose a good reputation over great riches. Being held in high esteem is better than silver or gold." I close the quote. These are the Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israelites, in this book of accumulation of wisdom from generation of godly, insightful people. This book promotes life of virtue and fear of God. Put God first in everything you do. Advocate Ngaitobi a few weeks ago talked to us about being indispensable, being ethical, being responsible, relevant, and reasonable. It's better to be a good Walter Sisulu University graduate who contribute to the life of Walter Sisulu University than to be rich and careless about your alma mater. We thank parents for bringing you to Walter Sisulu University. We thank them for standing and falling with us. Fellow graduates, go to the world and shine. Never forget your alma mater. This is what must guide you: wisdom, integrity, and excellency. Your certificates have this information in the seal. Walter Sisulu, our stalwart, said in the hoods that we are wearing, "The badges shall have been worn if by the turn of the next century, poverty, squalor, degradation, and diseases shall remain but distant and fading memory." I close the quote. I am here to say congratulations to you all as you join us in the convocation alumni for this university. Please follow our page in Facebook. I am inviting all of you on the second day of June to the general meeting for all the former students of Walter Sisulu University, which will be held here. Ala amaqobokazana ngalala endleleni yazini kunyembelekile. Kutsho inkunzi abayikhuza ukuhlaba ingekahlabi. Kutsho uzanzolo. Mama, show us the signal on how to change Walter Sisulu University and to be the university of first choice. Fellow graduates, congratulations. May your motorboats fly high. Congratulations.